going on, everybody? Welcome. What's going on, everybody?
What's up, man?
That was a false start. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Doll Benfica Podcast, episode number 148. The only English-spoken podcast about Benfica weekly.
Key word there being only.
Only. So if you're listening to this, you may consider yourself privileged to be listening to the only Benfica podcast in English only. With me tonight, Mr. Steve's 06 Santos. What's going on, bro?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
I'm doing well. Trying to warm up with this cold weather up in here.
Yeah.
And Cristiano Oliveira.
Aí, galera, beleza?
Nice. On tonight's podcast, we will look back at Benfica's game against Moreirense, and we'll also look ahead to Benfica's game against Turil. On the weekend, there will be a clásico between Sporting and
That's
Porto.
not a clásico, man.
That is kind of a clásico.
Get out of here.
You can't call it a derby, but it's definitely a clásico.
Clássicos Benfica, Porto, Porto, Benfica. End of story. Everything else arruma pra lá.
Since when, man?
Since I said so.
Porto was a regional club
Tá bom,
up
mas,
until not too long ago.
mas é um clássico, meu. Clássico só com o Benfica, man. Come on. Sporting. They try to get credit. Coitadinhos, man. For any little thing. Clássico is only one clássico, all right?
All right.
Steve, you agree or not? You're a big Barcelona fan. There's only one clássico. Am I right or wrong?
To be correct, there's only one, and there's the Super Clásico in Argentina with Boca
That's it.
River. So
That's it.
Why do they call that super clásico?
I don't know, to be
Is it
absolutely
super?
honest. I think it was
They
to
make it
take
more-
away from the other one.
They
Yeah.
had to make it more clásico than the clásico, so it's the super clásico.
Super clássico.
We should just call the
Which we
Benfica,
called the
the-
mini Clásico.
the Benfica in Porto, the hyper clásico. Clásico. Hyper
The
clásico.
hipster.
Uber.
I don't know. Uber. There you go, Steve. There you go.
Steve's the man, bro.
Anyway, let's get into this this Moreirense game. I'll give you the lineup real quick. Arturo was in goal. Maxi, Luizão, Jardel, and Eliseu across the back. Almeida filled in for Samaris, Gaetan, and John. Gaetan. Salvio and John on the wings. Pizzi was in front of Almeida. I don't know if I already said that. Jonas and Lima up front. So, Steve, up at the run up to the game and last week's podcast, we had talked about a lot of possibilities of the people that were going to substitute Samaris, and Almeida was perhaps a remote possibility. I think even Sergio had said that it was a remote possibility.
Sergio called it. He said Andre will start, and both of us, or all three of us, had different ideas. I think more for the offensive side of the ball, but if you think about it, it made a lot of sense. JJ always goes on about the more time a player spends with the club, the more he knows the system, the more he knows what's needed of him. And had we took a step back and thought about that, Almeida was the absolute obvious choice, and that's exactly who he went for. There was the mishap for the goal, which kind of shows us where Almeida's slightly limited. Maybe he could have played that play slightly differently and not coughed up the ball there. But hey, it is what it is. He went for his less risky option. He knew what he was going to get, and that's what he did.
I think that also the goal, which clearly one of their men gets the ball at the top of the box, and that's perhaps a play that Pizzi has to make. Had he been a little bit more experienced, he needs to make that play. He needs to cut down that man. I don't know if you saw it that way, but I thought that the guy showing up at the top of the box unmarked with a clean shot on goal, there's definitely a breakdown in defense right there.
It's yet another thing that's been mentioned. It's the awareness and the reaction time that Pizzi still doesn't have on the defensive side of things. And yeah, it's definitely a place that where you would assume that the play developed slowly enough that he could have been in a closer area towards the player to break him down.
What I saw there was a bunch of Benfica players just ball watching in reality. That's what it was. All of John's ball watching, Pizzi's all ball watching, Jardel staying with his man, Luizão's looking around. No one really put pressure on the dude, and you know what? Credit goes to him. He scored a nice goal. He was able to place it around Artur. So, I mean,
that kid has scored for us against us every year for the past 3 years for 3 different clubs. He scored for us versus Braga, or with Braga, Then with Belenenses last year, I think when we tied 1-1 with them at home, and again, I think this is the second time he scored for Moreirense this year against us. So he's definitely got it in for us.
Yep, nice goal by him, but obviously, like we said, a couple guys ball watching. I thought Pizzi and whomever else, Ola John could have really stepped in there, but nobody. Obviously, due to the lack of experience on the defensive end, I don't think any of those guys knew exactly what to do defensively, and obviously, Benfica suffered the consequences.
Yeah, for sure. So let's just break this down chronologically. We go into the half down 1-0. We come out. There's a corner kick. Luizão gets the equalizer. Now let's talk about this supposed corner kick, goal kick, penalty kick. 3 calls in one. All right. So Salvio takes the ball to the line. He looks like he's kind of shoved by not shoved, but with the tackle in the guy's leg, he looked like he was pulled out of the ball. And Moreirense's defense, the ball looked like it was going out of play, and that Salvio didn't have a play on the ball. But you can also look at it as being a penalty. A corner kick was awarded, obviously, and Benfica scores on an ensuing corner. So, Steve, what should have the correct call been here? Is it a penalty? The corner, I don't think it's a corner because I don't think that the Moreirense guy touches the ball. I think the last guy to touch the ball is Salvio.
Well,
but we've seen penalty kicks being called for less.
Just because we've seen them called for less doesn't mean they're actually penalties, or at least in my eyes. I'm not the referee. If anybody's the referee out of the three of us, it's Mr. Alfredo. But in my eyes, that's a goal kick and nothing else. Just because there is contact doesn't mean there's a foul. I don't think that would have been a foul had it been called that way. If it was a PK, I would have been against it. The Moreirense player definitely doesn't touch the ball, so it's obviously not a corner. For me, it's a goal kick, and that's it. But I don't like talking about referees. It's normally the last thing I want to talk about, but it is what it is. For me, that was the wrong call, and we benefited from it.
I agree with you, Steve. I actually agree with you on this. To me, it wasn't a corner kick at all. I understand what Alfredo's saying. That you're right. I have seen lesser fouls been given a penalty a lot of other times, but again, I don't want to be one of these Benfiquistas, man, that has to hear that Benfica on the level of call, and this and that. So I like to when it's a penalty, when it's a real penalty, I want to give them. If it's a dubious call, like Steve said, let it go and just have the better team come out and obviously win the game.
Yeah, but Steve, here's the question, Steve. If Salvio has more real estate, is that a penalty?
If Salvio has more real estate, is that no?
If he doesn't run out of real estate,
for me, there's not enough contact for a penalty. He's looking for contact that he barely gets, and he goes down. That's my interpretation of the play. That's the way I look at it. It's never a penalty, regardless of where it is in the box. To me.
And here's the thing that could have also been interpreted by the referee. Maybe he saw from the angle where he was, or maybe the linesman from the angle that he was. If he thinks that the defender touches the ball before and in the process takes away Salvio or throws Salvio off balance, then there's your corner kick call right there.
Oh, I get why he called a corner. He thought the guy touched it and it was a clean tackle, not enough contact for a penalty. I get that, but given replays and what we're all able to see on TV, we know that wasn't the case.
Right. So anyway, the refs don't have the benefit of the replay like we have from multiple angles, from multiple speeds. But it is what it is. For me, I think that if Salvio doesn't run out of real estate, I think that would have been a penalty. I think it's very tough to call a penalty when basically even if Salvio had a chance on the ball, he still wouldn't have been able to catch the ball because the ball would have gone out of bounds. So I mean, it's I don't think it's a penalty. The corner, it's all dependent on what angle the referee saw it from. But I could totally understand what I just mentioned, that the referee thought the defender hit the ball before he hit Salvio, and therefore threw him off balance. Anyway, so the corner takes place. Luizão scores the goal and levels Benfica. 2 minutes later, a player from Moreirense walking next to the referee said some words to the referee. Apparently, the referee turns around, gives him a red card. Okay. From what I understand, okay, the words that were said, he told the referee, apita essa falta, filha da puta. That's what he said. He's called that foul, you son of a bitch. That's what he said. Now, let me just, before you go, Steve, let me just say something. Both the Moreirense players and the coach after the game didn't contest what had been said to the referee. The only thing that they said really was that if it was a Benfica player, the referee wouldn't have had the balls to eject him like that. But because it was a Moreirense player, obviously they felt that he was biased or blah, 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 blah. Whatever. As a licensed referee and someone that is aware of the rules, for me, if somebody does that to me, if somebody says that to me, that's an automatic red card for me. So the guy followed the rules. If he would have had courage to call a Benfica player or not, that's a totally different story altogether. But that is an insult that's punishable by an ejection for me, going by the FIFA rules. Steve, you got the floor, dude.
Okay. I'm sure what he says is extremely rude. But how do you evaluate how bad it was? I mean, how many discrepancies are there already in football? All these gray areas where some refs say, oh, ball to hand, where some refs will allow a more physical game, yada, yada. How could you allow the game to be influenced by the thickness of a ref's skin? Like, how? For me, that's BS. You can Benfica or not, it benefited us or not, whatever. Even if it was against us, you cannot give a direct red on an insult. I mean, how could the ref gets insulted from the first minute of the game to the 90th minute of the game? That's just what happens. It's part of the territory. Whether it's right or it's wrong, I'm not going to argue that it's probably wrong. I mean, it's obviously not politically correct or even nice for somebody to be getting destroyed the whole match, getting berated the whole match, but it is what happens. And how can you say, oh, there's the level that he just hit, he called me a son of a bitch, I'm gonna send him off, where maybe he was being called Cabrão or whatever the whole match and he never said anything.
Steve, I agree with you where this influenced the game in a negative way for Moreirense and helped Benfica obviously overturn the score. But that being said, Steve, here's the thing I think where you're missing it, okay? I don't think that at any point throughout any game it's okay to sit there and insult the referee. I think the referee is at his own discretion. The guy can give you a yellow or a red anytime you disrespect the guy on the field. Some, like you said, some referees have thicker skin than others. But, I mean, I played soccer my whole life, and I don't think it was ever okay to disrespect and insult the referee at any point. No. And I don't care what level that's at, Steve.
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying that it happens. And how could you say that this is the point that you're going to get a red card, direct red card, where the guy before him might have just called him something else and didn't get it?
Steve, we talked about this earlier on the phone, texting back and forth, and I'm going to repeat this to everybody so everybody can listen, and which is we don't know how much abuse this guy put up with throughout most of the game with this clown. We have no idea. Now, the one thing to me that shows me that, that leads me to believe that maybe this guy was harassing the referee for a majority of the match is that, like Alfredo mentioned, not one person on that team complained about the red card. Even him, even the player himself. I mean, Steve, there has to – I mean, if you're going to get a red card for just saying something, I would like to think that you would blow up or at least let everyone know that your feelings that was, unjust.
Yeah, I don't know. I seen quite the protest when it happened.
He did
but they always protest. They always protest.
Like an instinctive thing. But I think that even after the presser afterwards, nobody really denied as what the wrongdoing was. And besides – you don't know the referee. The referee's mother, she could have been a nice lady. Which makes
sure
for a bigger
sure she is a nice lady. But
and
you don't get sent off for that. You don't.
This guy is also known for not tolerating abusive language. He threw out JJ albeit not as influential on the game as a player. He threw out JJ at the Bessa for rudeness also.
That's fine, and that's the only person on the pitch or whatever involved in the game that can be ejected because of their language. What else could a coach do to actually be ejected? I guess step on the field like JJ did. I guess I'm going backwards here, but still, you cannot get directly sent off for saying something. It doesn't happen. I've never seen it happen before.
Steve, I've seen it happen before. Okay, at the professional level and at the lower levels, I've seen it happen before. That's number one.
Find me that game.
Number two, I will.
Professional level.
Okay. Number two, here's my thing. Okay, when I didn't watch the game live. Okay, I had an unfortunate situation. I had to go to the hospital, or whatever, so I didn't get to watch the game live. But that being said, once I read up the report and I saw that Muridense had gotten a red card, the first thing I did, I went to check the score. I said, at what minute did he get in? What was the score? Okay? Because of stuff like you're saying, Steve, I don't even, and I mentioned this just a few minutes ago, I don't want to open up the door for people to say that Benfica is being helped, okay? And when that happens, the first thing you think of is, God damn it, why in hell did this guy have to get a red card? What was it? Okay? That being said, we don't know if this guy was harassing the referee from the initial whistle to the time he got a red card. My thing is this: I don't care what level it is, Steve, and I disagree with you that it's only the coaches. I don't care what level it is. You do not have the right to sit there and abuse the referee. I don't care what sport it is. I've seen it in basketball, football, baseball, hockey. These guys get ejected for disrespecting the referee. Okay, Steve, maybe other players, you see other players get away with it more often than not. But you know what it is? You know what players you see get away with it? The Benfica players, the Porto players, the Sporting players, the Madrid players, the Barcelona players, the big, powerful team players. Because in other leagues, you see players from the smaller clubs. Obviously, they don't have the weight. They don't carry the weight that these bigger clubs carry. Yeah. And these guys get yellow cards for talking all the time.
Yeah,
a yellow card.
I agree with you that I don't like it, Steve, but for you to sit there and act like this has never happened, I'm sorry, brother. I apologize to you. You haven't paid attention.
Seen it.
Yeah.
I have not seen a red card.
I think it happened. Also, like Chris said, we don't know what kind of abuse the guy had been throwing at the referee. Maybe the referee just thought they had enough. Nobody really knows what went on that report, and I don't think that we ever revealed what was on that report after the game. But one thing's for sure: this kid, Miguel Leal, he's a super draguet. If you guys don't know what the super draguet is,
it's not Miguel Leal. That's the coach. You're looking at Antonio Simões.
Oh, I'm sorry. Antonio Simões. Sorry about that. Antonio Simões. He was the kid that was ejected. He was a super draguet. He also took pictures and he posted on Instagram on Monday from the Bessa, from the super draguet section, a picture with some rude comments, whatever. We can't keep us down. Blah blah.
But listen, that's irrelevant. That's a Portista way. That's what they do. I said the same thing about Vitor Pereira, who this weekend had a crazy incident going on in Greece. And once you put on that Porto shirt, man, you feel like you're above all.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. I mean, the dude, it is what it is. I could care less about what he did at the best. I care less about what he posts on his Instagram. The thing I care about is what he did on the pitch. And Steve, I agree with you. I'd be really upset. But again, I would really have to read that report. Or two, I'd have to be on the field, because if this guy sat there the whole game and the referee warned him a couple of times and he didn't, obviously listen to the referee's warnings, how can you really blame the referee, Steve? What if it was constant, some I'm a bitch, some I'm a bitch, some I'm a bitch, and repeat? You know what I mean? I mean, you as a referee, you have to do something, Steve.
Yeah, you show him a yellow card.
Okay. I'm not saying I totally disagree with you. You're
playing devil's advocate. That's okay. It's not allowed.
I've seen players get red cards for insults. I mean, it's not the first time, Steve.
I don't think it's the first time.
It's not the first time.
I can't.
As I've said,
I can't think of a single time, man. Personally.
Excuse me. The rule book is very clear. Any insult to the referee with an authoritative figure in the game.
And Steve, when in doubt, I'm gonna go to my referee right here, Steve. All right, he's the referee.
I'm glad I took that course. I'm glad I took that course.
It's not helping you out any here because Steve's making the more compelling argument.
I can enlighten you, Steve. the rule book is very clear. It states that the referee can't be abused in any way.
At all.
Now, whether the referee chooses to throw out a guy, it's all up to his criteria. But as I've said, the whole argument by the Moreirense guys was that if it had been against Benfica, you wouldn't have had the guts to eject the Benfica player. Which
I agree.
Fine.
I agree.
Which
Steve,
is also,
you and I spoke about that. We agree on that.
It's another gray area in footballing referees. Why the hell do you have to add another one where it comes down to, oh, this is an insult I will not accept. You're getting a direct red card. This insult's okay. That one's not okay. It's bullshit. Period. The end. I'm sorry.
Again,
Steve cursed.
Again. I mean, I'm
Peggy, log this on your log. Steve just cursed.
Why even Peggy's already logged it before you even told him he was already thinking it. But listen, Steve, again, man, and I know it sounds like repetitive, but at the end of the day, I think the thing that we all have to take into consideration there is how much abuse was this guy given to the referee for it to get to that level. Now, if it's like you said, the first time the guy said something and he got a straight red, yeah, as a Benfiquista, whatever the case may be, as a football fan, I would not like that. But in reality, in the rule book, that's not even acceptable, whether it's one time or 10 times.
Yeah. Yeah, we really don't know. We don't know. All right, so let's move on. So Eliseu got the go-ahead goal in the 64th minute. It looked like a pretty.
My man Eliseu with the right foot. For all you guys calling my man un popsicle. All right, that's what he did for you guys. And by the way, I read something where Benfica. I wasn't even aware of this, and if you guys have, hats off to you. Congratulations, you guys got that off. But Benfica has the most productive fullbacks in the league between Maxi and Eliseu.
And one of the best ones in Europe also.
That's what they do, bro. Eliseu, my man's a rocket thrower. That guy's phenomenal. Guy's
rocket thrower.
That was a rocket of epic proportions. That rocket of his that went in.
I thought the goalie could have saved that. I thought it was a poor.
Come on, that was a beautiful shot.
He saw it late. But yeah. I'll have to give credit to I think it's Pedro33 on Twitter, who said he was still going to score 2 more important goals for us this year. That was definitely one of them. So he's got at least 1 more down to go.
There you go.
The guy. One thing is this: if he gets an open look, and obviously that wasn't an open look, I think my man just closed his eyes and he just kicked it where it went and it went in. But if you give the dude an open look on goal with his left foot, he's gonna get it at least on target. He's good enough to do that. That's the one thing he does have. He has a beautiful left foot that he could do whatever he wants with the ball. Now, as far as tracking back defensively, that's a whole nother story.
Hey, Steve, here's one from Timo. Would you be okay with a straight red card for a player using a racial slur?
Against the referee or against another player?
Overall.
Would I be okay with it? A direct red.
Yeah, with a straight red card.
That's completely unsportsmanlike. I don't.
Wait a second. So calling the guy.
I still don't think so. Honestly, without trying to be racist or not, it's not in the game. There's so many things that happen that could be direct red cards in the game that you don't see. I don't.
You'd be more offended if somebody was to call me a racial slur than to call yourself a son of a bitch.
I'd be more offended?
Yeah, you'd be more. That's what I meant to say. My bad. You'd be more offended.
I'd probably be more offended.
If I was to be called something rich,
a pork chop,
then for you to be abused,
for you to be called a pork chop.
No, whatever.
Everyone's okay with that. Nobody really cares.
Okay, whatever the case may be. The question is, you'd be more offended.
Cracker-ass cracker.
You'd be more offended if I were to get offended than if you were to get offended.
I'd be more offended if you were to get offended than if I were to get offended.
Yeah,
that's a lot of offended in one statement that I'm not understanding.
Because that's what you're saying. You're okay if the referee gave someone a red card because they offended a player with a racial slur. Well, he just got offended himself.
I was trying to find out what the context was. That's what I was saying. One way or the other, I don't think there's anything that you can say in a match as a player that can get you sent off.
No?
At least not directly without warning. So no, I don't think so.
Free for all then.
Not directly without warning. No.
Luis Suarez could go on biting people, and Patrice and all these guys could go on calling each other the N-word. You know what? It is what. There's nothing you could do to get a red card. So go ahead, dog. Do what you got to do. That's the way you're making it sound like. As long as you don't bite someone, right? Because biting to you, I guess, is a little bit out of this world.
That's violence.
Okay, so but I could file an harassment charge on you for you calling me any little thing, right? You know that, right, Steve? Harassment is harassment.
I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong, and I know now you're trying to twist this back on me.
No, I'm trying to understand you.
But how do you how do you measure what is or is not okay? Once it's an insult, what is the level of insult?
Bro, I think, again...
And where is this list of insults that are okay and that are not okay, whether it be racial slurs or not?
Steve, it's not that there's a list of okay and not okay slurs, okay? I think it's how much that a person can take. Okay, if you sit there and you say once in a while, you know, you know what I mean? Something like that.
Exactly my point. But it adds another gray area to football refereeing that doesn't need it.
Referees are human, bro. And you know what? You don't want to get a red card? Shut up.
I'm not.
Timo is saying, Timo, please find this game for us. That there was a player shown a red card for saying "F me." That was loud due to the starting whistle.
That might have been in his indoor league, man. Come on,
Timo.
Timo, come on, Timo. Go watch some more Jardel tapes and leave us alone. Come on with that.
Timo was also asking what's on your head. He said he's trying to be like Jardel.
I love Timo. He's lucky I love him. I want to go play soccer with him. He's always talking trash.
Anyway, so 3-1, important win at a very difficult pitch. And to be honest with you, Steve, I didn't think Benfica played all that well. I thought Benfica was having a really, really hard time up until the ejection. And I thought there was going to be a hard game. We went down 1-0 and into the half. I mean, the team did come out with a different attitude in the second half, but I thought they were going to have a really, really hard time breaking down that Moreirense defense, the way they were set up. Perhaps over time, and with Moreirense showing a little bit tiredness in their legs, and with the coming in of some more offensive guys, maybe if he could have broken down, but you know, everything just opened up after that ejection, really, and we scored 2 goals, 3-1. We got the 3 points, and everything is good. But I'm with Cristiano. I really don't like when things go down like this in the game. Benfica wins games, and there's these cases that give the opportunity to the Lagartada to tell us, Colin, and
come on, dude. You need to be within 4-point striking distance to even be involved in a conversation. Get out of here. Lagartada.
I also don't like the fact that Lopetegui is making comments and whatnot. Somebody, I don't know if it was Ron Gabriel or somebody, told him, you got to look at the past 25 years at your club before you start pointing fingers, which is absolutely correct.
Lopetegui, he's out of his depth.
He's clueless.
He's out of his depth.
Nah, I think he's been given direct orders to take shots at us whenever he can or whenever there's an opportunity to do so. I think it's just part of the MO of the club. I just really do.
I agree with you, Steve. I mean, I would not be surprised. We see Pinto da Bosta come out this weekend talking about how, you know, just a couple seasons ago there was teams that were up top and then they came down crashing. They came crashing down. I don't recall exactly what exact quote was, but, you know, something along those lines. He loves to throw jabs at Benfica every chance that guy gets.
All right.
Steve, shut up. Chris, shut up.
All right, we're gonna go into the usual and very popular segment by Mr. Nelson Lucinda. See you in a bit.
And I speak what I saw, know what you want that I want to say. You understand this?
Bars were open extra late in the hopes that Jonathan Rodriguez would come out to celebrate his first inclusion in Benfica's competitions. The Uruguayan scored 2 goals in his debut for the Benfica B team in the second division as they routed Oriental 3-0. However, against betting odds, the man on loan from Peñarol did not head out to celebrate the game afterwards. Filip Juricic made his first team debut for Southampton against Liverpool this weekend, making an immediate impact and playing for 75 minutes. The Benfica player currently on loan looks to impress. Now, will he stay a first-team member or return to Lisbon? Or will he be more like the increasing line of players like him set to be sold before returning to the parent club? O Pantera Negra has passed over just a year ago. Earlier this year, Eusébio da Silva Ferreira Avenue was inaugurated as the new address of Estádio da Luz. He will now be buried and memorialized at the Church of Santa Engrácia in Lisboa. O Panteão Nacional is the home of some of our most treasured, honored, and influential people in Portuguese history. Portuguese writers João de Deus, Guerra Junqueiro, Almeida Garrett, and Sofia de Mello, along with our most famous fado singer of all time, Amelia Rodrigues. Rest in peace, Pantera. Your physical form is gone, but you are in our hearts forever. And that's all for this week.
All right. Good job, Nelson, as always. Great job, buddy.
Always a fantastic job. This is quickly becoming my favorite part of the show right here.
I just want to show everybody that's some beard, man.
That's beautiful.
That's a great beard.
He would fit in right around now with all the
I want to
hipsters
see
and the
Steve
long
in one of
beards.
those.
That was a.
Está todo torto, meu país.
And
Longer on one side, shorter on the other. No havia espelhos.
I guess the Gillette hadn't been invented yet.
Not yet. It's 18.
But I'm. I didn't even know who that is, but that's one of the.
Just did you go Portuguese old man and that's what popped up?
No, that Nelson actually sent me a couple pictures of. There was another guy with a beard that I didn't. It was in black and white and it looked like it was a drawing, so I didn't insert it. But good job, Nelson, as always. And O Panteão Nacional is actually a place where they've buried all the illustrious Portuguese. The mortal remains of the illustrious Portuguese are held in a church in Lisbon, and the moving of Eusebio's mortal remains were approved by the government, and so he will be part of that elite group. I think there's 7 or 8 people in there of illustrious Portuguese people. So congratulations to the Pantera. Anyway, let's turn our attention now to the next game, which comes up. Well, I forgot to edit that one. Comes up this Saturday against Estoril at Estádio da Luz. Estoril is actually decimated by yellow card suspensions and injuries, and from what I read, they're not really going to have their central pairing, center backs pairing, playing the starters nor the backups. So there's going to be have to improvise. But Steve, the most important thing is getting the win, obviously, and the thing also is that Porto plays Sporting. Sporting will travel up north to play Porto, and it's imperative that we win this game.
Absolutely. You could really hope for a tie between the other two, and that you'll be able to get a bit of distance on the both of them. But to do that, you got to make sure you do your job, and that's getting the 3 points out of this match, which I mean, any team outside the big three, you got to expect that from Benfica, and that's the only thing we can expect for this match.
I don't want to see no slip-ups. I want to see Benfica go out there and go for the throat and capitalize, get the 3 points. I could care less about what happens in the other game. Obviously, I'd be more inclined if Sporting were to win the game because you try to separate yourself from Football Club de Porto as much as possible. But that being said, as long as we win our games, I could care less about what Porto does. And so the important thing is that no slip-up like we saw with who passed Freire. I know I keep going back to that game, but I want to see Benfica go out there and go for the kill right from the initial whistle.
I agree with you, and that Pass Freire is going to be a game that, if all fails, at the end of the season, it's always going to be a game that we're going to look back.
I'll still be mad about that. I know right now Marco's listening to this, and he's like, "These guys in Pass Freire, let it go already, let it go." But it's hard. But that being said, if Benfica wins, obviously the pressure will be squarely on Porto's shoulders. Porto will have to go out and get the 3 points in order to keep up with Benfica, and they know that they can't come away with any other results than the 3 points. So hopefully that puts enough pressure on them. Lopetegui, a guy that loves to talk a lot, like Steve's mentioned earlier before. Hopefully he makes a couple of mistakes, and we get to see if this Porto team, could they convert under pressure. Can they play under pressure?
Yeah,
I'm not sure if they could. So, it'd be good to see Benfica come over with 3 points and, like I said, put it right back on Porto's corner.
Yeah, because out of both teams, and I hate to be talking about Sporting and Porto, but obviously this relates to us. But out of both teams, I think Porto is the one that needs the result out of both of them.
And so they're going to be missing more first-team players than Sporting too. Oliver is hurt, and I believe both fullbacks might be suspended for the game, if not just one. For sure, Alexander.
No,
I think
there were served suspensions this past. Did
Monday. I get that backwards already?
Yeah.
They served suspensions. Both Danilo and Alexandru served suspensions, as well as I think Casemiro also was suspended. And there was 4 players altogether that was missing from the lineup, and they still pulled it off. Estoril is 12th, last 10 at the luge, 6 wins, 2 ties. 6 wins, 4 ties for Benfica, and in the first round, Benfica won 3-2 with 2 goals from Talisca, if I'm not mistaken, and 1 from Lima. And Steve, this Estoril team is very far from being the Estoril team from years past, especially when Mark Silva was leading them. But still, 12th, they have decent players, even though they've been decimated by some of the guys that have been taken away by the bigger teams. But still,
Steven Vitoria.
This is not a team to take lightly at all.
No, it's definitely not. They've got some players on the roster that can cause us problems. The kid from Porto, Tozé, is quite good. But Banku, I don't know if he's fit or not. He's very pacey down the left. He might give us problems. There's a couple more. I think it's Seba or maybe even Kleber, but I don't think Kleber's played much. And there's also the former Benfica player Balboa. So they've got a few.
Hey, Balboa did his thing in the African Cup of Nations. My man was a star.
There you go. So
former Real Madrid player. Former also, I believe you put on the Steve, our hometown, bro. Beta Mare, one of our hometowns. I mean, come on, the guy's a lethal weapon. Benfica definitely has to watch out for.
I didn't know you guys shared the hometown.
Both Setúbal and Aveiro, right, Steve? You're like my long-lost brother.
You guys separated
like,
at birth or something.
Something like that.
Steve,
Hey, at least you said it. I was going to bring it up, but you brought it up first.
I won't. But listen, bro, I don't believe we could come off the show today without. I mean, we mentioned all this other crap of modalidades and all this and all this other crowds. I can't move. Modalidades, right? And we can't come off the show without talking about man. My man's on fire for the Equipa B, and I think.
Yeah, Nelson, as Nelson mentioned.
What, that was Nelson. I'm talking about us.
Yeah.
Come on. And I think that this dude, he might just get a crack at the start at the not starting, but at the main squad this season. I think this guy could be a key crucial player down the line, because we see Derlei doesn't really offer you much. So Lima maybe slacks off. At least it gives hopefully it gives this kick in the behind to Lima, I should say, the extra boost with the competition that this guy needs to pick it up. And he looked good the other day. I know it was the Equipa B, but he looked good. And obviously they made this much fuss about the guy because obviously he could put the ball in the back of the net.
I actually had a chance to watch a little bit of the B team game, and it did seem a little bit too good from that first game. Of course, that first game, there's a lot that goes into a first game. Your adrenaline is pumping. You want to prove yourself. You're excited. You want to do well. So I mean, sometimes it could be misleading. But look, to me, he looked a little bit above everyone else. Strong, fast. Always challenging for the ball, and look, for me, he's gonna get some minutes before the season.
To me, what was crucial was the fact that in front of the goal, he looked like a matador. He didn't care less. Like even the header, where he jumped in front of his teammate. My man, he's like, I'm in front of the goal, and he looked like a finisher. I know the second one, I believe, was the shot. Kind of, the goal he looked like could have done a little bit more, but at the end of the day, he got the ball on net, and he looks very aggressive inside the box, and that's something that pleases me, because that's exactly what Benfica needs. They need a poacher, and this kid looks like he'll be that type of guy. He's got the tenacity, and he'll get to any ball.
I don't know if you could call him a poacher, dude.
Okay, I don't know. From what I saw, again, I didn't watch the game. I saw the highlights. You watched the game.
Steve, you watch any of the game or no?
I did
that's
not
on your
watch.
Playlist.
Steve was ice skating home.
Yeah, I was actually fixing my igloo, since I live in Canada and it's cold up here.
Bro, it's colder here than it is over there, Steve. Believe it or not.
Steve throws up those Celsius numbers to make
it look impressive. But I'll give you that, Steve. It did fool me at first. I was like, damn,
that's cold.
I was like, damn. I
want to know what the temperature is like in Australia right now.
Come on,
no, I don't want to know.
Sunny.
Damn it, Peggy. Damn you all to hell, Peggy. Anyway, how did we go from the studio to Jonathan Rodriguez?
We just got sad. Well, it was me. I brought it up. I want the guy to play. That's what I was trying to say.
No, I definitely think they'll get minutes before the year is
I'm happy that at least George Jesus finally sees the light, and he's giving this kid Geds some playing time, even though it's not much. but at least he's using them on a weekly basis.
What they give him 15 minutes this week?
Hey, it's
No,
better. It's better
15
than
seconds.
Yeah, he didn't play much, dude.
okay, but at least he's playing. At least he's bringing them on. That's my
Yeah,
point.
yeah. He's,
And now I hope that instead of bringing that lays on, this kid Rodriguez, man, he looks like to me he looked like a quality player. He looked like the type of player that's hungry, a kid that wants to get on the score sheet, and to me that was impressive because again, it wasn't even the way that he scored that second goal. It was the way that he just cut off his own teammate, almost headed his head into the goal as well.
I could have sworn the guy that was going for the ball, his teammate, almost got hurt on the play.
Yeah, and dude, he's like, a goal, let's go.
Yeah, he was definitely impressive. But then again, you got to keep him away from the night, man. He's a kid that has a reputation, he likes the cups. So you got to keep him away from the night. So that's the most important thing. Keep him on a straight and narrow. Hopefully, Moxie will take him under his wing, and we'll keep him on a straight and narrow. He'll work hard
Moxie,
enough.
Another knucklehead.
Nah, Maxie's actually a good family man.
Yeah, that's right.
He's just a bit of a jerk on the pitch. That's
What I'm saying. That's why I'm calling him a knucklehead. He's aggressive.
He's like a Benfica. He's a
Tem raça.
jogador a Benfica, pa.
Yeah.
Benfica always seem to have those right backs. Him, João Pereira before. Guys that just like to rachar tudo à frente. Veloso. They just like to rachar, bro.
Yeah, Benfica's had some crazy right backs, but like I said, Jonathan kid looked good for me. So let's see what he does in the next coming weeks. I'm sure he'll be getting a little bit more burn on the B team. So we'll see what happens. What else we got? Well, are we all done with Sturil? Anything you wanted to add for Sturil?
No. I think we should mention that the U19s made it through to what, the semis, or is it the quarters again?
Quarters.
Yeah.
They beat Liverpool.
Yeah. Who else is in the quarters? Oh, I know Shakhtar is waiting for them now, right?
Shaka
I
Smart.
believe that's what I read. Yeah, I didn't see the whole lineup though of who's left and who's not.
Yeah, I think Shakhtar is waiting for them. I wonder who else is in there. Neil could probably tell you.
Neil, Peggy, get on it.
By the way, Neil wrote a good piece on our website about the U19. If you have a chance, get over there and check it out. BenficaPodcast.com.
Neil's my man, but Neil, I got to tell you this. Neil is not impressed by much. Now he scores a golazo when he goes against the last team. I mean, dude, I could care less what team that was, Neil. I mean, come on, dude. Let's be realistic. That was a golazo, man. It was an absolute beauty.
Yeah, and Neil asked me to reassure the Benfiquistas that we're going to win the Campeonato this year. If I could do that, Neil, I would buy lottery tickets instead of predict that we're going to win the Campeonato or not.
We got another question on Twitter from Nelson. Okay.
Yep, go.
Do you think that the Liga NOS, whatever, Portuguese professional division, should use replay technology to review tackles, offsides?
No.
I agree. I think
Goal
this
line
is
technology would be nice.
Yeah.
goal line technology would be nice. And the other thing I want, it's sad because you see the Mexican League and the money that they convert, that they use, I should say, and to produce in the Mexican League compared to what happens in Portugal TV. They're so advanced. It's so sad what we see in Portugal. But what I want to see is different camera angles. I want to see the cameras go up and down the sidelines and basically acompañar the forward line, because I want to see what an offside, because you can't really see it. A lot of times you see it on an angle. I want to see the play right there. I'm telling you, I think that's crucial for TV, I should say. It has nothing to do with the game, because the referee's not going to make a call off of that. Yeah. But me, as a TV spectator, that's what I want to see. I want to see Portuguese TV take it up another notch.
Well, you're talking about setting up in fields that are 20, 30 years old that don't necessarily have the conditions.
Put up a post, bro, and
put up a post. Get a drone up there. Come on, we can do this.
No, but listen, I agree, Steve. Goal line technology, and the rest, man. Listen, to me, I'm one of these guys. I'm a traditionalist, a guy that goes back. And the game's been around for 100 years. There's always been some human error in the game. Obviously, it's unfortunate when your team loses, but I don't see anybody complain when it benefits their team. So I like the human error aspect of the game. I think the referees and linesmen should absolutely still have a job to do rather than just see a bunch of robots trying to control what goes on the soccer field.
Yeah. And Neil, to answer your question, and I think I'll answer for Steve also, I think that if we could get past Braga, if we get the win against Braga, and we get a favorable result this week between Sporting and Porto, favorable meaning either a Sporting win or perhaps I'd take a tie between the two. I think that if we get past Braga, I think that we're well on the way to to becoming bicampeões.
I tell you, Sporting needs the result here also, because if they lose, they'll only and Braga wins, they'll only be a point up on Braga, and obviously that third spot for the Champions League will be crucial. So, Sporting will also need to win this game.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Underscore Gomes 89 underscore says that his bet is if Benfica is 3 up, Jonathan Rodriguez will enter the game around 75th minute or so. Is that before Guedes makes it onto the pitch or after Guedes makes it onto the pitch?
Why 3 up? I mean, if this guy comes in, it's because you need a goal, not because you're up 3-0.
Yeah, I think that first you would have to make the game roster, and I think right now you would have to pass. You would have to pass a lot of people on the game roster right now, and I don't even know if there's room for him in the game roster now.
And what's the latest on Gaetan? He's out for this week as well.
100% back to practice.
Oh, he's 100% back.
Both Gaetan and Fesa made it.
Come on, stop playing Fesa.
No,
Stop playing.
I'm serious.
Fesa trained with the ball this weekend. The latest news is that
I train with the ball in my basement. That don't mean nothing.
Here we go.
That Gaetan is ready to play for the weekend is the latest news.
Nice.
But we've heard this before. So I don't know. I'll talk on Friday night and see what the latest news is on then. But I'm just hoping Gaetan's back for the big matches in a couple of weeks. The Braga game, the Porto game, I think is about a month and a half away too. So we're getting those are the two results. You get positive results in both those matches, I think we will be champions. Anywhere in between there, you get a negative result plus one of those a negative result. I'm not too confident.
Yeah, and another tweet from underscore Gomes89 underscore. I was in Seychelles watching the game today. We'll face Shakhtar next round. Porto in the semifinals, probably. Barca/Real out. I don't know what that means. Barca/Real out.
Where the hell you see that?
Right there.
Oh. Well, Barca/Real, which I mean, obviously, they're probably playing each other.
Probably playing each other.
So
yeah.
One of them's going to cancel the other one off. So that's probably what he means.
And then Porto will play one of them. Who knows, man? Somebody get on that, please.
One way or the other. One way or the other, none of those kids will ever play for the first team anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
What? Come on, Steve. Why you got to be like that, Steve?
Hey, he's speaking. At least, I agree with Steve, but we haven't seen anything that leads me to believe that these guys will play.
Well,
so,
Guedes was in the team last year or a couple of years ago. Now
the guy plays 15 seconds again. That don't count.
Who else was on? Rochinha's gone.
They signed that dude. What's his name? Senegalinha. What's his name?
Sansadino.
Sansadino. They're making a big fuss about him. The kid's dreaming about making the A squad.
I'm impressed by that kid's hair, man. I'm really impressed by that kid's hair. He's got some hair.
Steve, my man, is multitasking today. He's arguing with us on the pod. He's arguing with Steve. I mean, with Peggy and everyone else about what the hell's going on. Well, how do you measure what's wrong and what's an insult, what's not an insult? Steve, you know what? You insult the referee, red card. Boom. That's it.
Then make it a rule and not a gray area.
It's a rule.
Steve, if you insult your wife, what happens to you, bro?
Chapada.
I sleep on the couch.
There you go. So
He's
basically, you get ejected from the bedroom.
That's why não dançar lambada com mulher. Dançando lambada.
Anyway, já viste isso aí pra ver então, pá?
Mas viu o quê?
The UEFA U19, dude.
You told me to do that?
Look it up so we finish up the pod.
Steve.
Now we're both freaking hunting it down.
Steve, just concentrate on arguing with Peggy on Twitter.
I can't believe that Peggy's actually going back and forth with Steve. I'm surprised.
Peggy, don't you know he's doing a pod right now? Leave the guy alone. What's wrong with you?
Steve's had a very eventful night between arguing with us, having fans posting pictures with his T-shirts on Twitter.
I've never seen Steve so animated in this podcast.
The cold's getting to him.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm absolutely sick of the cold. I don't think I can handle any more of it.
Me too.
Dude, this is the coldest winter that I can remember. Steve's doing it.
Okay.
Steve, are you doing
all
it?
right.
Yeah,
Quarterfinal draw. Roma versus City. Chelsea or Zenit versus Atletico. Benfica versus Shakhtar. Anderlecht versus Porto. There you go.
So I don't know where.
Say that again.
Barca and Real are both out, is what he meant. So Chelsea.
Oh, they're already out. They're already out. Yeah, that's right. Anderlecht beat Barcelona. That's right.
The pairings for the quarterfinal are as follows: Roma versus Manchester City, Chelsea or Zenit. That's the game that still has to be played versus Atletico, Benfica versus Shakhtar, and then Anderlecht versus Porto.
Very nice. And they're like beat Barcelona. They knocked out Barcelona, by the way. That's right.
And underscore Gomes89 underscore. He was gonna tweet the rest, but he said he got limited by the 140 character limit. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. It's the first time I've seen him around, so we always welcome new followers.
Yeah.
And new listeners and people that interact with us.
He's on the ball today.
He's on his
Pedgi's sleeping. He's on his A game.
He's on
Good
his
job,
game for sure.
Gomez. You got too many underscores there, but you're doing fine. Don't worry about it. Thanks for participating.
But he put at Gomes89. That's what you asked for people to put, right?
That's no.
Just the number. Make it simple.
Make it shorter. G89. That's just like that. We can throw more of you into the conversation on Twitter. We're very limited with 140 characters.
All right, I think that's about it.
People
Steve,
really listen to that. Come on, dude.
Steve, anything else, bro?
No,
set out.
That's it. I just want to make sure I don't condone any of the insults. I'm just saying.
Throwing a little disclaimer.
How do you measure which insult is red cardable and which one is not?
Filho de puta is the big one, man.
Okay, if you say so, man.
Steve, between Filho de puta and Cabrão, I don't know.
No, Cabrão is more bearable.
I don't know, bro.
Why?
Cabrão is bearable.
I think both. No, I think
why?
between the two of them.
I think when somebody insults your mom, your dear mom,
Even a Cabrão, man.
that breastfed you,
Even a Cabrão, bro.
and held you while you needed to be held.
What I was gonna say, my father,
comfort you.
My father, may rest in peace. Between both, I don't think one was better than the other. My father would jump over a table and slap the shit out of you if you ever call him either one.
Yeah, but Filho de puta is pretty bad.
It's terrible. Yo, Steve, in Portuguese, Filho de puta is as bad as it gets, brother.
I'm not saying that it's not bad. I'm just saying, how could you say what's worse than one or the other?
Everybody send your hate tweets to Steve and tell him how Filho de puta is pretty bad, and you guys.
There you go.
Some of them.
Enjoy.
At Steve Santos6 is where you could direct those insults. At 10CO10 Cristiano. And at Benfica Podcast is where you can find us all on Twitter. Interact with us, message us, include us in your conversations that will only allow for 5 characters. You could also do that private direct message, which will allow us for a lot.
Timo just posted his latest tweet. It was somebody Todd Ritchie or something like that. Lee Todd is the player that was sent off. There's actually a video to it, so good job, Timo.
I want to see that.
There you go.
I didn't get it. He didn't tweet it at me, so
Steve,
I can't
get
see
in
it.
there. All right, thanks a lot, everybody, for checking us out. Don't forget to check out our friends over at planetbenfica.co.uk. BenficaPodcast.com is where you can find all the latest podcasts, articles, Neil's writing, somebody else's writing when they feel like writing it, my writings when I feel like writing. Anyway,
I'm gonna start writing when Steve writes.
It's a cool place. I think that's about it. Thank you very much for checking us out. Please don't forget to subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or RSS feed.
That was sweet, bro. Yeah, thank you very much for subscribing.
Yeah,
like your tone drop, like very nice.
It's very nice. You got to be nice to people, man. I owe everything. Well, we owe everything to the fans for making the podcast as popular as it is. So anyway, and we're still trying to get to 1,000 followers.
I think I sent those shirts out already to some of Steve's groupies.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Arrivederci.
I'll talk to you next week. I'll talk to you again next week. We'll break down the Studio game and we'll look ahead to next.
I'll make sure I watch that
The
game.
game after that. I think it's Aroca that comes up next, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not.
I mean, this is what we do on Benfica Podcast, bro. We have everything, a touch of a finger, bro. Right there.
Vê lá.
Bow.
Oh, já está a demorar muito tempo.
É o Aroca, meu. I told you it's Aroca and then Braga.
Peace, everybody.
Peace and attention.
Stay well, stay warm, and stay nice.